What's up, people? Another episode of Just the Sport. Jumoke Davis here with you. And in this show, we'll get to Chelsea winning the FIFA Club World Cup, kind of back-to-back. The Nationals in the MLB Draft. Did the Nats make the right pick? Did MLB make the right decision moving the draft when they did during the All-Star break? And did you even watch the All-Star Game? Probably didn't. The NFL and NFLPA are embroiled in a controversy together that has separated the NFLPA from their executive director. We have scandals in gambling, which are sad, and sinners of two kind at Wimbledon. One is Jannik's sinner, the other is Iga Swiatek, and they were the champions at Wimbledon, and it kind of marred the excitement, unfortunately. And we will also get to golf. Does Scottie Scheffler know something we don't? He just might. But first, we're going to start with Chelsea. And I'm blue. I'm for Chelsea. I went to the first game when they played LAFC. I was so excited to be there as they started their journey to what ended up being champions of the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. And I said in my predictions that I thought PSG had the upper hand. They seemed to be hot. But I said Chelsea, there was only one way they were going to win. And they were going to need a little bit of this. And they got a lot of it from Cole Palmer. 2 goals and an assist in the win over Paris Saint-Germain. And I was surprised. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of work to do, so I couldn't watch the game live. I had to watch it on DVR and catch some highlights because I was working. But I was overjoyed. I had a chance to go to the final, and there was a part of me that felt really bad that I didn't. Really bad that I didn't. But the thing for me, and is a big reason that I'm glad I did not. There's a big reason why I'm glad I did not. But in the end, I am excited about the future for Chelsea. They were going into the Premier League season, the second youngest team ever in Premier League. And they finished in the top 4. They end the season, or some may say start the season, hoisting the FIFA Club World Cup trophy. And yeah, you could say, oh, well, does it really matter? To me, it does, okay? Bottom line is they beat PSG. If PSG had won, you would just be saying, oh, they were dominating. And okay, so what? Chelsea wins and now it's kind of a like, they won it. No, they beat arguably the best team in the tournament. And it showed how dominant they were from the beginning. They struck early. They had a good defensive game plan for PSG. And they came out on top. And I am overjoyed. I'm getting my FIFA Club World Cup Chelsea Championship shirt, which I'm excited to get in the mail. At some point, it'll get here. But the one thing that I thought was the most bizarre thing is the fact that Donald Trump showed up. Not that a president can't go to a championship game. I'll give you that. Please, by all means, go. But he handed out the medals, and there are reports that he pocketed one of the gold medals. Although it wasn't one that belonged to somebody, he just probably wanted one as a souvenir. And you know Donald Trump apparently stole a Stanley Cup ring from Vladimir Putin as well. Or vice versa. Vladimir Putin maybe took one. It's murky. But what isn't murky is that there are reports that he took a FIFA Club World Cup medal that didn't belong to anyone. He just won a souvenir. I mean, I'm not going to act like I would have probably loved to have a souvenir of that stature, a medal as well. I would. I'd probably like any extras. I'll take one. I'll hang it up somewhere. I love mementos that aren't regular mementos that you can buy online. I've got a lot of them behind me that you will see or can see in the background. They're just kind of cool in my mind. But then the weird thing was, in soccer, football, every team, after they get their medals, the captain or whomever they designate as the first one will lift the trophy up and all the players cheer. And they couldn't get Donald Trump off the stage. So they literally had to do that awesome cheer, yeah, with the President of the United States sitting right there. And then you could see somebody kind of pushing them to the back so the team could celebrate. And it's like, why do you have to always make the story about you? You didn't need to do that. You could have just done something weird as it is and giving out the trophies and then stepped aside and let the players celebrate. But you had to make it about you. And it didn't need to be that. Apparently, he told Cole Palmer that Barron, Trump's son, Cole Palmer, is his favorite player with the Cole Palmer bowl cut. And it's funny because as I think about my son playing soccer and what I see in him, in his natural skill, and who knows where he will be 6 months, a year, 5 years from now. I would love for him to be playing for Team USA to some capacity. But it's funny to hear the post-game press conference talk about how Cole Palmer played well, but sometimes he seems like he's not interested in the game. And I was like, that's interesting that they would say that about him. I feel like when I saw Messi playing Columbus Crew in Cleveland, a regular season MLS game, he was walking a lot. Some might say he didn't seem like he was interested in the game, but he turned it on when it was time. And that's what they said about Cole Palmer. When he needed to make a play, he made a play. In the championship game, look, in the game I went to against LAFC, he did not score a goal. And that's okay. In many ways, he still contributed to Chelsea winning the game 2-0. But the bottom line is, it's not just about scoring goals. But it's funny to hear that about a player at his level when sometimes I can think about that with my son, when sometimes going into a game, a dad will be like, man, Todd's probably going to go score 4 goals in this game. And I'm just like, yep, we'll see. Oh, he's going to dominate. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. I hope someday people are talking about our son as they talk about Cole Palmer, but you never know. I don't want to put that on him. If you are a parent that has a child playing sports, it's tough. It's a real fine line from pushing them too hard to saying they're going to be this when they're not this, and hearing other people say it. He's saying about baseball with him too. I try not to get into it too much. And the funny thing is, there are 2 sports that he's really good at that I never played, soccer and baseball. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here. My question, as we look at the MLB Draft, where will the Nats go from here? So the really interesting thing is no one expected the Nats to take the player they did. I did not. Eli Willits was a surprise pick. No doubt. No doubt. Everyone was expecting it to be Ethan Holiday or Cade Anderson, which were projected to be 1-2. So it was a surprise. No doubt the number 2 pick, which was definitely a surprise, was the Angels drafting Bremner, who some projected him as like maybe top 20. The thing I didn't like about what the Nats did, as you heard in my last pod, the timing to get rid of Rizzo and Davey Martinez was not good timing. At the same time, I understand it allowed for DeBartolo to be able to make his choices. Maybe he's going to be the next GM, quite possibly. But not only did it seem like a risky move and a shock for the Nationals to take Eli Willits, even though he was projected in the top 5 overall. When I started to read the comments from people who know a lot more and follow baseball a lot more than me, and they all talked about the Nationals doing a cost-cutting pick. I didn't say that. I didn't know anything about it going in. And yet that's what some of the reviews said. That they picked players that were slotted at a lower cost to the team. And yet you fire Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez as if this losing season and the losing trend over the past several seasons since they won the World Series is all on them. And yet here we are, Nats, DeBartolo, and I'm sure the ownership group making another cost-cutting pick to save money. This isn't pick the lowest drywall that's cheap because I'm building another office building. I want everything to be cheap, 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 but I'll charge the highest price I can. I'll make the fans pay the tickets as if you're seeing a major league team, but I'm going to lowball the players. My payroll is going to be low. I'm going to pick the cheapest players I can. I just hope that's not the case. I want this 17-year-old to be the next Steven Strasburg to think about the Nationals. I want him to be the next Paul Skeens, the next Tyreek Skubal. That's my hope. But there's something about all of this cost cutting and, they're trying to save money, cost saving to spend later. No, they're not cost saving to spend later. They're just trying not to spend at all. And that's where I don't understand what's happening. What is happening? What are the Nats doing? I don't get it. I just don't get it. And also what I don't get is there were reports that there were like 7 or 8 players tops at the MLB Draft. That's never the case at the NFL Draft. That's never the case at the NBA Draft. Not only do you have players at the table on the floor for the NBA Draft, and you got players in the green room for the NFL Draft that come out, you got players coming out of stands in the NBA Draft that get picked. They don't even get to sit at the tables. In Major League Baseball draft, can't really get players to show up for their draft. Now, reports are, there was a story by Alden Gonzalez in Major League Baseball, in ESPN, saying that Major League Baseball agents, the Boris Corporation, Scott Boris, Excel Sports Management, and Wasserman, were telling their players, don't go. It's not worth it. Now, of course, representatives of those agencies said, no, we never told players not to go. And I know it can only be embarrassing for a player to not get picked when you think you're going to get picked. I don't even want to address the agents. I would say this about every single league, because NHL is packed too. WNBA draft is packed. My opinion, if I have a chance to get drafted, I want to walk up on that stage. Doesn't matter where I get picked, I want them to see me. And that's where I don't get it, this generation of player. Okay, well, they're saying, I just wanted to be around family and friends. Look, most of you are going to be millionaires. The agencies should just fly your family in, either to sit in the green room with you or have that party waiting for you. So as soon as you cross that stage, excuse me, you go up in a suite and you're with your family and friends. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's what I would do if I was in that position. That's what, if I have a son who ends up getting drafted, there is no way in the world I am letting him not go to the draft if they have a draft like this where the commissioner's there and you walk up on the stage and all that good stuff. You got to live in the moment. It's no different how I don't understand how players are like, I'm not going to All-Star Game. Who cares? No. The window is small. Look at Bradley Beal. Took a buyout for Phoenix to try to go to another team to try to win. When you know that window is like this, for every player, when you look at the big scheme of life, you got to embrace it all. And I just don't understand why players would not want to do that they would be a no-show at the MLB draft. No excuses. No excuses. It don't matter you're a high schooler. I mean, shoot, if I was in high school, I'd be even more excited to be like, yep, I'm there. I'm 100% there. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Now for the All-Star Game. If you're a fan of baseball, okay, the All-Star Game will probably be there for a while. But I still can't help but think how it's disappointing to hear that the ratings are down. I watched the Home Run Derby and the All-Star Game. Now, granted, when the National League went up 5-0, yeah, I'll admit I kind of kept doing work. And I keep my eye on the game. And then all of a sudden, American League started coming back. I was like, uh-oh, what's happening? We got a ball game. I don't want these games to go away. But if you don't watch as a fan and you're taking them for granted, then they may not have them anymore. At least not the same way. I was critical of myself, saying, hey, Chelsea's not going to play in the FIFA Club World Cup every time. And I was hard on myself, being like, Jumoke, why aren't you going? Are you a real Chelsea fan? I was questioning myself. Questioning yourself as a baseball player, if you're a fan, if you're like, oh, I'm not even going to watch the All-Star Game. I'm not going to watch Home Run Derby. Now, granted, I don't like them. And when I think of the format of some of them, I didn't like how the Major League Baseball game ended, even though some players said they did. A home runoff, like penalty kicks in soccer. It just seemed weird to me, even if former Nats Kyle Schwarber won it for the NL. Basically, National League went up 6-0. American League came back and tied at 6-6 at the end of the game. So they had a home runoff. And Kyle Schwarber, with the National League down 3-1, hit 3 home runs. They go up 4-3. They win the whole thing. Okay. It was all right. I mean, I was more excited because it's Kyle Schwarber, former Washington National, another National who should still be playing for the Nationals right now. Could you imagine the Nationals if they still had Scherzer? Well, they still had Strasburg too. I'm talking about the players that are playing. Maybe not Patrick Corbin. But if they still had Blake, if you don't succeed, trying in again. If they still had Schwarber, Soto, Bryce Harper, come on. The Nats would be challenging the other National League teams for a World Series title. And now we're not. But that was exciting. It was kind of cool to see. I watched ESPN SportsCenter and they were doing top plays from the first half of the season. I wasn't a fan of it. It was mostly just catches. Like, wait a minute. There are no home runs, no game winners. They were all like over-the-wall catches. And some of them, they belong. But I still felt like I just didn't understand how we did not have just a few more home runs. I'm just saying just a few of them. That's all I wanted to see. That's all I wanted to see. I won't spend too much more time on Major League Baseball, but I did have a note here about the biggest surprise of the first half of the season. And from a negative side, the biggest surprise to me are the Orioles. They were supposed to be better than this. I've said it all throughout the year. I am disappointed. I know many of the O's fans in the front office. They fired the coach, the manager, Brandon Hyde, Mike Elias did. Now here we are trying to see what's going to happen in the second half. Who knows what's going to happen in the second half? The games are starting as I'm recording this. But to me, what I saw is a team that at least they're only 9 games under 500, but a team that has underperformed. And we all know that. We all know that. Now, the team that has the biggest surprise to me, and it's funny because I would say the Cubs, but I picked the Cubs to win the NL Central. So then in my mind, it's like, well, it's the Cubs, but it's not the team. The biggest surprise to me, and it was a toss-up between two players. Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs is one. And then I don't know, but they are definitely not sleepless in Seattle with the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, who won not just the home run derby and beating O'Neal Cruz in the process, but also he's crushing home runs, leading the major leagues. What is happening? Cal Raleigh? So to me, it was a tie because Pete Crow Armstrong, I'm just like, who is this? Where did he come from? I went and looked at my fantasy draft to see when both Cal and Pete were drafted to be like, I didn't see this. Now, they're both going to be keepers. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to have them on my team. But I'm happy because I've had Shohei Ohtani since he first came to Major League Baseball as a pitcher and a batter. So no one's ever had the chance to have Shohei Ohtani. So I'll take it. Plus, I stink at fantasy baseball. I'm awful. There are a couple of awful stories that I'm going to get to. First one is Lloyd Howe, who is out as the NFLPA executive director. He resigned amid multiple controversies. Today, the newest one is that he's had a 2-year tenure that's had some ups and downs. But my man got in trouble for spending money at a gentleman's club. Conflict of interest, being a part of the Carlyle Group, trying to buy an NFL team while also being the executive director of the NFLPA. Colluding with owners to cut down on the number of guaranteed contracts. I don't know how they're picking executive directors with the NFLPA, but they got some problems. ESPN reported that the FBI is investigating financial dealings with not just the NFLPA, but Major League Players Association. This ain't good. Howe was a paid consultant for the Carlyle Group. When you think of the level of intelligence of some people, how can you do this? greed, stupidity. Maybe they're not. People just aren't as smart as we think they are, and they've stumbled up. They know how to work the system. They know how to schmooze. Because this is idiotic. He is losing everything. Everything. Strip club expenses. $738 car service. Was it a Maybach? Did it have to park outside of the strip club when it got you from the airport at 10:26 a.m. and dropped you off at your home at 6 a.m.? Man. Miami Gardens. That must be the spot. Why? I don't understand. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Not so much going to the club. And I'm not saying like I condone it, but just like, why would you make that an expense of the NFLPA? I want to hear the story of this. Now, here's the other thing. There was a NFLPA summit February 21st. Howell accompanied employees to Magic City in Atlanta. $2,426. Cash withdrawals ranging from $200 to $525 at a club ATM. 2 VIP rooms. My thing is, I know you got enough money to do this on your own. Keep it on the down low. Why? Why hurt yourself this way? That's what I'm saying. It's just dumb. It's dumb. Especially if now you think, well, wait a minute. If I'm the Carlisle group, maybe I don't want him on that. And now then what are you losing? Now you're losing a lot. You're losing a lot. And that's a shame for Howell, Lloyd Howell, and the NFLPA. And hopefully they'll find an executive director that's squeaky clean and will take the best interests of the NFLPA as its number one priority. Let's go from losers to winners. Jannik Sinner beat Alcaraz in the Wimbledon Men's Championship. Anisimova lost to Iga Swiatek for the Wimbledon Women's Championship. And I had two things that came up as I watched them win. I felt bad for Anisimova of USA. To lose 6-0, 6-0 in the final. She was tearing up at the end. That was really sad. I know she wanted a better showing in the women's final after making a miraculous run to get to this point. But on the women's side, it's wide open. In terms of, there is no Serena Williams. This is the 9th different player to win Wimbledon since Serena won it back-to-back. The number one in the world, Sabalenka, lost to Anisimova in the semifinals, and Sabalenka seemingly just can't win the big one. Or more, I don't know if she's going to be able to get all 4 Grand Slams. Because she's obviously number one in the world, because she can win. And then on the men's side, it had me thinking about how Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are becoming, or already are, the next generation. As you know, I said probably 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago when I started doing Just for Sport, who's next? Now that Rafa and Federer were retiring. Obviously, they weren't retiring 3 years ago. And Novak Djokovic. But Sinner and Alcaraz are in every final. And I think they will be and could be for at least the next 5 years. Nobody seems to be able to come close to either one of them. And I'm okay with that because I wanted to see some sort of a rivalry. I do like that side of it. What I don't like is that Jannik Sinner and Swiatek, the champions, got slaps on the wrists for doping. Where, oh yeah, my trainer made a mistake. He was giving me a massage and he had some on his hands. I didn't know. He didn't know. And I just happened to test positive. I was taking a health supplement, but it wasn't supposed to have this in it, and it had it in it. I didn't know. All that kind of talk across sports is hogwash. You know what you're doing. And then you get caught, and then you make the comment, oh, I didn't know. And I just think realistically, tennis should have come down hard on it. Neither one of them ended up in a situation. Definitely Sinner, his punishment allowed him to not miss any Grand Slam. People were very critical of them not getting some sort of a lengthy ban because other players did. Serena Williams was like, oh, if I had tested positive, they would have taken trophies away from me. I probably would have got banned for a year. Sinner was suspended for 3 months between February and May, twice testing positive for anabolic steroid. Swiatek suspended for a month at the end of 2024 after testing positive for a banned heart medication. I mean, come on. What are we doing? You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that. Lastly, I want to talk about Scottie Scheffler. He's doing better than everybody in golf. He's crushing it in Portrush, Northern Ireland. He's already won 2 Masters. He won the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. He's in the Open Championship. And he said something that I found very interesting and surprising because I think he is the closest to Tiger Woods. Not in terms of changing the game off the court and bringing more interest, but his dominance in the game. Scheffler said his take on success in golf is, what's the point? He said, quote, this is not a fulfilling life. It's fulfilling from the sense of accomplishment, but it's not fulfilling from a sense of the deepest places of your heart. That's something that I wrestle with on a daily basis. It's like showing up at the Masters every year. It's like, why do I want to win this golf tournament so badly? Why do I want to win the Open Championship so badly? I don't know. Because if I win, it's going to be awesome for 2 minutes. It's great to be able to win tournaments to accomplish the things I have in the game of golf. Yeah, it brings tears to my eyes just to think about it because I've literally worked my entire life to be good at this sport. To have that kind of sense of accomplishment, I think it's a pretty cool feeling. To get to live out your dreams is very special. But at the end of the day, I'm not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers. I'm not out here to inspire someone to be the best player in the world because what's the point? You win it. You celebrate. You get to hug my family. My sister's there. Such an amazing moment. Then it's like, okay, What are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. It feels like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes. We work so hard for such little moments. I'm kind of sicko. I love putting in the work. I love getting to practice. I love getting to live out my dreams. But at the end of the day, sometimes I just don't understand the point. End quote. Man, how poignant. You put sports in perspective in a way that I am curious how many other athletes feel the same way. Now, as I started the beginning of this podcast, and I will say here, you have to enjoy every moment. You have to embrace where you are. Love where you are. Don't say no to going to an All-Star game or an event, unless obviously you have a conflict, right? I talked about it last week with the unenviable and inevitable backlash that one Christian Pulisic we knew was going to get for not playing for Team USA in the CONCACAF Gold Cup. You got to enjoy every moment. You got to be in it. That window is small. But Scottie Scheffler understands that. He talked about, hey, I know what the sacrifice is, and I'm going to sacrifice, and I'm going to win. But also recognize, what's the point when I win? Yay, hug my family. Oh, I'm so happy. Here's my trophy. Put it on the shelf. Okay, I'm on to my next city. It's a product of what they do. Chelsea won the FIFA Club World Cup. Yay, hoist a trophy. Party in New York City. Fly back to London. Spend 3 weeks with your family. Start all over again. And the fans and the front office and internally yourself, you're going to then challenge yourself for the next thing. The next thing to win. And what I would say, if I was talking to Scottie Scheffler, is I get what you are saying. But I hope you enjoy and cherish every moment. And if you need to know what's the point, not because you need to inspire the next generation, but because you are grateful and you appreciate where you are in the moment. And that's all that's necessary. That's all that you need to do, is appreciate it in the moment. Because this is the best moment of your life that you are living right now. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. When you graduate college, or you get drafted, or you get married, or you have your first child, win a championship, whatever the case may be, all of these things that are happening in the future, just enjoy that moment. Getting selected to an All-Star Game, enjoy that moment, be a part of it as long as you can, because when it's over, it's over. You're done. Tiger Woods is done. Maybe he's going to play in some senior tournaments and win there too. But it's done. Tiger Woods is now history. His story is now in the record books. But he can't write new records. So when you ask what's the point is to get into those history books. The point is to make it where you are, enjoy where you are, cherish it, and understand what you have and be appreciative of it. Gratitude. The gratitude. That's what you got to have. And I got to have some of my own for even being able to do this. For you watching or listening to me. Thank you. I appreciate it. And that'll do it for Just for Sport. I'm Jumoke Davis. Enjoy your sports weekend. I'm off to the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix. Ciao for now.